Greetings and salutations, loyal viewers of this channel. My name is Sean, and today we got to talk about what went down in a Miami courtroom, where a man who was convicted of murdering an 18-year-old girl, shooting and wounding her boyfriend, by the way, over 3 pairs of sneakers that they were trying to steal from them, decided post his conviction, as the victim's father was reading a victim impact statement, that he was going to try to murder him in the courtroom. This is the level of disgusting attitude that this guy brings with him to the table. He's absolutely an ongoing danger to society, and by the end of the story, when you hear his severe sentence, you're gonna think he deserves even more time, if not the death penalty, because obviously he is a clear and ongoing, unremorseless threat to society. Now, we're gonna get into this, but before we do, I want to thank everybody who supports this channel via actualjusticewarrior.com/join.
Give me the money. Give me the money, okay?
Chaos in the courtroom, a man learning his fate, then going on the attack. He was found guilty of murdering a young high schooler over sneakers and had an outburst after the victim's family addressed him in court.
There's no forgiveness on this earth for animals like you.
A father speaking directly to the man convicted of killing his 18-year-old daughter.
There's only one place animals like you belong, and that's in prison for the rest of your life.
These words prompting 23-year-old Adrian Cosby to burst off his seat towards the victim's family.
So what you just heard right there was the tail end of a statement from the victim's father in a murder that, again, was over 3 pairs of Yeezy sneakers. The girl and her boyfriend decided that they were going to try to sell these online in 2020. They end up meeting up at this location, and this guy and a buddy decided to show up armed, not only to take the sneakers, but you can't have any witnesses. So they also decided that they were going to try to take 2 lives in the process. And the father calls him exactly what he is: a monster, an animal who deserves life in prison. But Adrian Cosby didn't like that. Adrian Cosby felt offended. How dare you step up to him? So he decided to prove everyone right by attacking this guy in the courtroom. Now, of course, the guy's an idiot, so there's a bailiff in the courtroom. He's in shackles, which he deserves to be in shackles, and he didn't get very far, but it just goes to show you the level that these criminals are operating at. And for everybody who says he was just trying to feed his starving family with those Yeezys, he was going to sell them to get bread for the little orphans in the neighborhood, look at who this person is in reality, look at who you're defending, and look at this beautiful 18-year-old girl who had her life taken away over what? Over sneakers that she would have turned over willingly and was not willing to trade her life for. But that's who Adrian Cosby is in full HD. See it for yourself, multiple angles, and that's who he's always going to be.
It was April 2020. Andrea Camps-Lacayo and her boyfriend were trying to sell some Yeezy sneakers. Detectives say George Walton and Adrian Cosby, both 19 at the time, wanted to rob them. Police say Cosby is the one who pulled the trigger, killing Camps.
And as was said by this court,
This week, Cosby was found guilty. And here, Friday, following the outburst, he was sentenced.
Count 1, first-degree felony murder. I sentence Mr. Cosby to a mandatory life sentence.
Yeah, life isn't good enough in this particular instance, even though this guy got 2 life sentences plus 25 years for the armed robbery. This is not going to bring back this poor girl. It's not going to heal the wounds of her boyfriend, who was shot by this monster as well. And honestly, he showed you who he was in court on full display right there. But let's get in a little more to the details of this particular case.
We begin with the exclusive video you just saw, that outburst in court. The disturbance happened after that murder suspect was found guilty of killing a Miami-Dade high schooler over a popular pair of those Yeezy sneakers.
So this video actually starts off at a bit of a different angle. You could see Cosby lunge up from his chair. You see the bailiffs holding him back. No punches were thrown or anything like that because the bailiffs were on top of the situation. But of course, the family of Cosby, the people who raised this monster, slink off out of the courtroom as quickly as possible once they see the product of their parenting, of their community, on full display in court in front of everyone.
The jury had just handed down its verdict, and the family was giving a victim impact statement to the judge, calling the defendant a monster, when suddenly this happened. The defendant, Adrian Cosby, jumped out of his chair and tried lunging at the victim's family before court officers intervened. Cosby was taken out of the courtroom and his whole family left. It took a few minutes for order to be restored. Cosby was just found guilty by a jury of murder, attempted murder, and attempted robbery.
As to count 1, first-degree felony murder. The defendant is guilty of first-degree felony murder.
In 2020, 18-year-old high school senior Angela Lacayo lost her life over a pair of Yeezy sneakers. She and her boyfriend were trying to sell the popular shoes, but the sneaker sale escalated to murder when Lacayo was shot and killed.
And of course, the victim's family is left in shock because a basic component of decency, if Cosby had any, is not only when you do the crime, but when you're convicted of the crime, you at least hear from the victims. You hear the impact that your crime had on them. But Cosby, not interested in any of that. The guy is an animal. He wanted his sneakers, and he is upset that he still hasn't been able to sell that for the $900 that those sneakers were worth at the time.
Her boyfriend, Sergio Bourbon, survived the shooting and told jurors he and his high school sweetheart were hoping to sell the popular Yeezy sneakers to a man for over $900. Bourbon claims Cosby, the man that was on trial, randomly approached to kill him. Cosby was charged with murder in the first degree along with attempted murder for shooting at Bourbon. Here's the state's closing arguments today before the jury started deliberating.
So you have the boyfriend testifying in court that they went to sell these sneakers for over $900. I've seen reports where they were selling 3 pairs of Yeezys, but in this news report, they're saying it's 1 pair. It doesn't matter. The fact is, $900 is not worth it. Killing somebody over sneakers is not worth it. But again, Cosby decided that their lives weren't worth anything to him. He was willing to execute both of them. Unfortunately, he ended up being successful in killing one of them for the instant gratification of obtaining these shoes.
This was an attempted robbery, a setup of a robbery that went bad. And instead of walking away with 3 pairs of Yeezys, Adrian Cosby took an 18-year-old girl's life. And for that, he is absolutely guilty. He is guilty of first-degree felony murder. He is guilty of attempted first-degree felony murder. And he is guilty of attempted armed robbery. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what we are asking you to find.
So that's the closing argument for the district attorney. Obviously, she did an adequate job in that she secured convictions on all 3 of those counts and got the maximum sentence, it appears, on all 3 of those counts, although I think she should have pursued the death penalty in this case, but that's not the point right now. That was off the table for whatever reason, but it is important for you guys to understand that this is the type of criminal that is more common than your innocent angel baby Aladdin. This guy could have gotten a job. He could have worked legitimately for money. He could have bought the sneakers on his own if that's what he wanted. He also could have made $900 participating in the economy like a normal human being, but instead he decided that he didn't value our laws, he didn't value our society, and he for damn sure didn't value the lives of 2 high school students, 2 teenagers, 2 18-year-olds, 2 law-abiding citizens, and he was willing to kill them and did kill one of them over something that was valued at $900. Again, if he would have stolen this from a store in many states in the union, it wouldn't even have escalated to grand larceny, but he thinks 2 human lives are worth less than that. 2 human lives are worth less than $900 because, make no mistake about it, he intended to kill both of them because you can't have any witnesses for the perfect crime according to this innocent angel baby Aladdin. And the fact that this guy couldn't even stand the scrutiny of having his actions criticized by the parents of the girl that he murdered over sneakers, again, valued at $900, is disgusting. And I'm of the belief that the pettier your reason for murder, maybe the more we need to put you up for the death penalty, because if you have a strict motive, if you have something that really sets you off, that's well thought out and calculated and all that, the chances of those circumstances repeating yourself are far less likely than this guy wanting the instant gratification of a couple $100 for sneakers, which led him to kill and attempt to kill another person. But Adrian Cosby, you will go down in history for this viral video as the scumbag that you actually absolutely are. And your family ought to be ashamed of themselves. I know you're eligible for appeal. I would look forward to your laughable appeal. And I can only wish that the jury saw this and then had to decide on the death penalty case, because this is the perfect example of a serious ongoing threat to society. In addition to that, even though he has 2 life sentences, one is a mandatory life sentences, and 25 years on top of that, I would charge him for the assault, for the threat in this courtroom. Make a statement against a criminal like this, because he needs to know that our society rejects him, and good on the Miami prosecutors for showing that in terms of the murder, but let's make it even more valid. Let's step it up one more notch, because this guy deserves the absolute worst, and so does his co-conspirator. Again, $450 is what they would have gotten if they would have sold these sneakers between them for 2 human lives, one that they seriously wounded and this girl that they killed. So yeah, absolutely shameful in every regard, disgusting, needs to be rectified with the true justice in my opinion. But you know what? Those are just my thoughts. I want to know what you guys think about this down in the comments below. If you like this video, then show me by leaving a like, subscribe for more content, follow me on my social medias, support me via the support links in the description of this video. This has been me talking about a heinous murderer trying to attack and potentially kill somebody in the damn courtroom. Till next time.